Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Educational AD Podcast. We'll be right back with our guest, but first, let's hear from our podcast sponsors. We want to thank Violet Defense for their support of the Educational AD Podcast. Go to violetdefense.com for more information. Violet Defense is dedicated to protecting our world from germs by bringing the power of UV disinfection to everyday spaces. Their patented technology enables them to harness the power of the sun to incorporate ultraviolet light into products and environments like never before. Whether you're ready to implement some of their existing products, or if you'd like to explore researching and developing a custom deployment of their technology at your school, Violet Defense has the solutions and the experience you need. Once again, thanks to Violet Defense, and go to violetdefense.com for more information. We also want to thank Sideline Interactive. We've got a Sideline Interactive video score table in our gym, and it is a tremendous tool. You really need to get in touch with these folks. You know, it's becoming harder and harder to fund an athletic department these days, but Sideline Interactive's indoor scoring tables and video boards can generate $10,000 or more every year, while also creating excitement in the gym and the ultimate game day experience for your student athletes. Go to sidelineinteractive.com or call 832-786-0302 to schedule a live web demo and see their tables and boards in action. You can also email them at sales@sidelineinteractive.com. That's sales@sidelineinteractive.com. Find out exactly what these fantastic products can do for you. We also want to thank Wall of Fame by Vital Signs. You know, they are on a mission to bring your school's legacy to life. They provide a variety of interactive touchscreen video boards and an extensive library of templates to make it easier than ever to recognize the athletic achievements of your students, both past and present. For ideas on how to showcase your school's diverse history along with your proudest athletic moments, visit vitalsignswalloffame.com. Or to learn more and get started with your own digital Wall of Fame tribute, call them at 614-981-3589, or you can email them at sales@vitalsignswalloffame.com. That's sales@vitalsignswalloffame.com. We also want to thank Huddle. At Huddle, we power sports. More than 180,000 teams, including the best in the world, are using Huddle to help elevate the performance of their athletes and their teams using video and analytics. Huddle's the complete performance platform. They have online tools, mobile and desktop apps, smart cameras like the Huddle Focus, analytics, and a whole lot more. Huddle's built for every level of play. If you have a club or a youth program, Huddle can help you. Of course, at the high school and college level, Huddle is the gold standard for analytics, and even professional teams are using Huddle. You're in pretty good company, as there are over 6 million users of the Huddle platform, including your student athletes, a lot of their parents, and the coaches of the college and university teams that you're trying to get your kids recruited to. If you want to find out more about what Huddle can do for you and how your school can become a Huddle school, go to huddle.com and talk to their professionals. Remember, at Huddle, we power sports. And we also want to thank Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack for sponsoring the Athletic Director's Toolbox segment of our podcast. Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack are a quick, easy, and affordable way for you to collect some comprehensive data that allows you to evaluate and improve your entire athletic program. Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack also gives you access to the 95% of the players and their parents who really love your program. And it gives them a voice to help share how important a positive athletic experience is for them. Go to athleticsurveys.com and check out their testimonials, and then give them a call at 1-800-738-6466, or you can email them at info@athleticsurveys.com to get started. Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack. If you've never used a survey to check the pulse of your school, you really need to check these folks out. Let them help you take your athletic program from good to great. We also want to thank our good friends at Hometown Ticketing, the leading digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges. You can learn more at hometownticketing.com. Hometown Ticketing, simple and easy online ticketing. Hey, welcome back, everybody, to the Educational AD Podcast. We're heading out to California today to visit with truly an old friend, Mark Edgemon. Mark is a certified master athletic administrator, longtime athletic director in the state of California, past president of their state association, still active with them as the exhibits chair. Mark and I met many years ago when we both came on to the National Certification Committee and have remained good friends since then. So, Mark, welcome to the podcast.
Well, I'm excited and I love seeing what you're doing here.
Well, it's been a lot of fun and, been trying to get you on for a long time. Glad we're able to do it. For our listeners, we're recording this on Thanksgiving Eve, November 24th. So it'll be pretty timely when you get around to hearing it. So, Mark, let's jump right in. We always like to let our listeners have a chance to get to know our guests. So give us that 5-minute bio, where you were born, where you grew up, your sports background, and the path that led you to, all those very successful years as a high school athletic administrator in California.
Oh, thank you, Jake. I grew up in Pico Rivera, California, about 20 minutes outside of Los Angeles, and just grew up playing sports, loved it from that standpoint. And then when I graduated high school, I decided I didn't really know what to do. And so I started business. And after that, somebody said, "What do you enjoy doing?" I said, "Athletics." They go, "Well, you could be a PE major and be a PE teacher, coach," because I would love coaching. And I got involved with it at Cal State Long Beach, graduated from there, and got right into teaching, coaching, and then gradually worked into an athletic director at Newport Christian and Newport Beach. It was just a beautiful, beautiful situation. I was a basketball guy. I lived basketball, but after about 10 years, I just burnt myself out on coaching and was ready to move on. And I enjoyed being an athletic director. And so I said, you know what, maybe I'll focus on that. And then about the end of the 80s, I came across the idea that maybe I'll be a pharmaceutical sales rep. Went into that for 5 years. Just wasn't me. Great money. So I went back. I missed athletics so much that after 5 years in pharmaceuticals, I came back into athletics as an athletic director and started to enjoy it. After a couple of years, they asked me to be the principal, and I went to the dark side for a year, and it was very unsatisfying. And after a year, I said, I will never do this again. Left and went and taught at Upland Christian and was their athletic director, starting a brand new program. I was there for 23 years and just had a blast. And all that time, they allowed me to grow the program and to do it the right way and make sure that we represented our school in a good, positive light out there to the community. And we weren't just this small school. We reached out in the community in many different ways. So it was exciting times, and I was very pleased with it. A lot of buddy ADs at the big schools helped me along the way and answered a lot of questions, which was a big benefit. And then over the years, I became the person that answered a lot of questions for others. And it was fun watching new ADs come in and watching them grow. So hiring coaches is always a challenge at every school. And we were blessed with some very good coaches along the years and very successful programs. And here in California, there's 1,600 high schools. And so we're in a division with almost 600 in the southern section. So it's very, very competitive and, but very well run. And so we really, and myself, had just a great time and with the ADs in our local area.
Yeah, you and I met when you were at Upland, and I remember you shared some of those stories about, starting it up. And for our listeners, Mark's school was recognized as they just had some tremendous programs, some tremendous teams. Share a little bit about some of the, not so much the challenges, but in looking back, what do you think were maybe, 2 or 3 of the key moments where you and your administration or your coaches that you did the right thing that ended up paying off in a big way over the coming years? Can you share some maybe secrets of success?
Well, one of them is, and being a smaller school, we didn't have all the facilities that we needed. And so we had to work with the community. And when we first came on, I knew I needed to get a high school baseball field. And there was one not too far away. And I talked to the city park and rec director, and he went, no way. About a year later, he heard we had built a gym and said, let's swap some hours, gym and field. We'll run our youth programs on Saturday. And so we ended up opening the gym up for them on Saturday. Saturday nights, we rented it out to adult basketball and volleyball leagues, which brought funding in so that we could fund other programs and keep our costs and budgets. For all the years I did it, my budget never went into the red. We always stayed in the black. And to me, that was a real good way to show that we're responsible for what we were doing in athletics, not only impacting young people in a positive way, but showing that we could run a program that financially would back itself, not completely, but it did within our budget each year.
Well, and again, you and I spent our careers primarily at the private school level, and opening up those facilities, like you said, partnering with the Parks and Rec person, having the adults come in the evening. Those are great showcases for your facility, your school, your staff people that might be working, for families to see, hey, this is a pretty good program here. Maybe we should think about having our kids come there. So yeah, absolutely. Okay. What else? You got another secret to success you can share real quick?
I even served on our Chamber of Commerce for the city of Upland. And that was another way to get the word out about what we were doing. At the first, it was, oh yeah, there's the guy from that Christian school. And then as I got serving on their board of directors, it was Upland Christian, bringing music groups from our school over to luncheons and just letting people know what we do and sharing that information. My idea was always, when they walk on the big public school site, they recognize athletics. They have doubt when they came on our site, and I had to prove to them that we ran a very quality program too at our level.
Oh, and I can certainly attest to that. For our listeners, we're visiting with Mark Edgemon, Certified Master Athletic Administrator, past president of the California State Athletic Directors Association. We're going to be back with some more, but let's take a quick break and hear from one of our podcast sponsors. We want to thank Huddle for their support of the Educational AD podcast. At Huddle, we power sports. More than 180,000 teams, including some of the best in the world, are using Huddle to raise the performance of their teams and their athletes using video and analytics. Huddle's the complete performance platform. They have online tools, mobile and desktop apps, smart cameras. Of course, there's analytics and a whole lot more. Huddle is built for every level of play. If you have a club or a youth program, Huddle can help you out. Of course, high schools and colleges have been using Huddle for years, and even the pro teams are using Huddle to help get better. You're in pretty good company with over 6 million users, including your student athletes, a lot of their parents, and the coaches at the college and university level that you're trying to get to recruit your kids. If you want to find out more about the Huddle platform and how your school can become a Huddle school, go to huddle.com and talk to their professionals. Remember, at Huddle, we power sports. We're back with our interview with Mark Edgemon, Certified Master Athletic Administrator, retired AD for the state of California. Mark, in our profession, we always talk about the importance of leadership and particularly mentorship. So, who are some of your mentors that helped you along the way? Maybe family members or coaches that you had, or people that you worked with or worked for. Can you share a little bit about who's helped you over the course of your career?
Boy, I've used a lot of help over those years, but it started with my father. He was a 10-year Marine and pretty tough man, but a great man, and was so supportive of everything I wanted to do athletically. And when I got him to come and watch when we won our first league championship as a coach, and he's sitting up in the stands, it just was one of those things like complete circle from that standpoint. Then one of the early coaches I had was Don Klukas, and he coached me in many different sports. And it was just his ethical standard, his graciousness, and just the openness to be able to share that just motivated me to play super hard. And I tried to emulate a lot of what he did over the years as a coach when I was coaching, and then as an athletic director, in the way he showed such positive aspects of athletics from that. Probably one more real big one as I became an AD was Ray Moore. He was in Vista Murrieta previously at Diamond Bar High School here in Southern California. Unbelievably successful programs. And just he was the person that invited me to come join our Foothill Citrus Athletic Directors Association, our local one here in Southern California, and which got me involved with the CSADA, then obviously NIAAA. But Ray just is one of those quality guys. And when something would come up, a league situation that I really didn't have an answer for or know how to deal with it, I would call Ray. And Ray go, Mark, a few years back, our league or somebody else dealt with that, and this is how they worked it out. And he would always explain it in a very simple, matter-of-fact way. And even to this day, he's one of my mentors that even though he's retired also, but we both serve on the CSADA board at the present.
Wow. I always love to hear those stories, and it's great that you're still in touch with them. You mentioned your state association and the NIAAA. You and I, our careers somewhat parallel from a time standpoint. We got our CMAAs. We came on certification there the same year. Both became president of our state association at about the same time. And we kind of retired about the same time too. So we've got a lot of younger athletic directors that listen. And I think it's important to kind of share the story. So talk a little bit about how you first got involved at the state level and then that path of getting your CMAA. Can you share that with us?
Yes. And one of the things started too back in those days was, and this is probably 15, 20 years ago, I actually developed a YouTube page called Athletics Now. And it was basically, I wanted to help brand new ADs or people that just hadn't connected. And it was very simplified compared to the program you run now and how well you do it. And it's just, you motivate me every time I see one of your presentations. And but when I got with the Foothill Citrus, I moved up in the ranks there, coming to meetings. But the part was, every time I showed up at a meeting, I was like just motivated so big time that when I came back to our league meetings or other groups or even our school, I would share the ideas I heard from fellow ADs. And I just said, this is a way to continue to grow the program. Boy, if I had done that back in the 80s, it would have been even a better trip all through the time. But I got involved with them and they said, Mark, why don't you try attend one of our state meetings? And so I got involved with the state and just volunteered in just different ways, asking people, what do you need help with, and doing stuff. And then our representative for Foothill Citrus Upland High School, Jim Drake, athletic director of the year. He ended up becoming the president of the CSADA, and he asked me to fill in as the vice president in representing our area. And that was a huge door opening for me, and made life just, I've grown so much from that one opportunity. And I really do thank Jim from that standpoint. But being involved, working with different groups, and every time we have a state conference, you just come, you get around motivated athletic directors that want to learn, and you're hearing best practices. You're hearing from some superstar speakers and athletes, and you will get excited. Please make sure you get involved with your local athletic director association, the state one, and their presentations, and then the granddaddy, the NIAAA. I mean, we would get so excited, Jake, and we would sit there and just laugh and giggle, because not only was the serving on the committee for certification important, but it was something that we just got excited to hear all the growth, and that they were going to be accredited, and going through the steps for all that, and the motivation through Sherry. It just was Coach Lockwood, and just going through the different things that they did. But it was serious, and it was, even though we had fun, we still were serious with it. And then as you get termed off, I got in with awards and spent a few years with them. But I tell you, that's a fun committee. So if you want a fun one, look for the awards committee. They do a great job. And you're there celebrating and helping with all the award winners each year. And so that was a great opportunity there. But going to each one of these different conferences just gives you brand new ways to address issues that when I came back and talked with parents, with administrators, I wasn't talking out of what I thought was a good idea. I was talking from what the experts had shared the previous meetings. And that part there gave me confidence, because I was just a regular guy, but I could hear what the best practices were from the best in the nation. And then I would repeat it and customize it so it fit our group there. And those were great days. I dearly missed going to those conferences.
Yeah, I mean, I just remember those times that, we were on committee together. But you mentioned a couple of, I think, key points. One was, simply going to the meetings, attending the meetings at the local, the state level, and then not only volunteering for opportunities, but when you were approached with an opportunity, hey, can you help us out with this? Yeah, you got to say yes. So that's the message. That's exactly what we want to hear and share with those younger ADs is, get involved. The opportunities are there for you to do it. So very cool stuff. Once again, for our listeners, we're visiting with Mark Edgemon, Certified Master Athletic Administrator, past president of the California State Athletic Directors Association, and he's currently works with, the vendors. We'll be back with some more wisdom from Mark. But let's take another quick break and hear from one of our podcast sponsors. We also want to thank Sideline Interactive for their support of the podcast. It's becoming harder and harder to fund an athletic department these days, but Sideline Interactive's indoor scoring tables and video boards can generate $10,000 or more every year, while also creating excitement in the gym and the ultimate game day experience for your student athletes. Go to sidelineinteractive.com or call 832-786-0302 to schedule a live web demo and see their tables and boards in action. You can also email them at sales@sidelineinteractive.com. That's sales@sidelineinteractive.com. I promise you, you won't be disappointed. We've got a Sideline Interactive video scoring table in our gym, and it is fantastic. So check them out. We're back with Mark Edgemon. Mark, this is the point in the podcast where we try to share some best practices, and you've already alluded to that just a little bit earlier in the interview. But looking back at your career at Upland, and even before that, what are some things that when you take a moment to reflect that, you can say that, boy, we really did a great job with this. Can you think of any best practices to share with our listeners?
One of the things that was a turning point in my career that made being an athletic director, just fantastic experience was I stood at a game one time, and this is the way I used to say it. I had one good parent tell another good parent on each side of me something that I never said. And I went, if that's what they're saying, where are the parents that struggle with everything and complain all the time? What are they saying that I say? And I started a program called my mandatory parent athletic director meetings. And I would not let a kid play their first sport of the school year without their parent coming and hearing me talk for 45 to an hour. And I had it all outlined. Every year it was almost the same thing. And I used to say, in practice, we repeat the same type of drills and we enhance them in different ways, but it's still a learning and repetition. And so I think one of the things that athletic directors have dropped the ball on is that we get frustrated with parents, but parents don't know what they're supposed to do or say and act like anymore, or maybe never. And so I went through and explained to them, this is the way we behave. This is how we go through the process. And they would complain year after year and be like, is it going to be the same old stuff? And I'd say, oh no, brand new, brand new. It was pretty much the same old stuff. But you know what? Over the years, all of a sudden, everything became to where there was rare that I really had issues. The coaches basically, and I told them, if there's a problem, the steps that you take. And the coaches, for the most part, resolved 99% of all the issues. And so I got to be able to learn, even though I gave up nights during the school year. Before every season, I did multiple sessions and small groups a lot of times. But I said, it's worth it now than having a parent frustrated because they just don't understand what's going on down the line. And, coming back to mentorship, you go through and you do these different things with kids. Well, you can do them with parents too. And even fellow ADs, again, part of connecting with other athletic directors, a local athletic director, Joel Weiss, was part of and ran our exhibitor, was our exhibitor chair for decades. And he still helps me go through step by step to make sure. And he mentors me on that part there. We have Ralph Trigstead, which basically sets up our conferences. And he does the same thing. So even at age 65, I have mentors in my life that are continuing to help me grow and become a better athletic director. But you know what? A better person. And these guys and ladies, we have Jean Ashen, which served on the national board and won the top award a few years back, or she just will talk and talk and talk about the things that benefit high school athletic directors. And she is so informative. We're talking right now in our state. I'm sure the national is going to be speaking on Title IX quite a bit and its anniversary. I can't remember exact year, but it was around 1977, 78. I coached a JV girls basketball program. I didn't realize that it was all starting brand new. I don't remember that. I just remember that there were jump balls continuously during basketball back at that time. And that's why the alternate possession actually came in, I think, but because of the jump balls that would make games last 2 hours. But it's so exciting to see girls athletics be able to grow. And, I look at them, my two daughters that played volleyball and went on into college and even played. And just the number of young ladies that are growing so much in athletics being the principal aspect that's given them confidence to become professionals as an adult and being leaders as adults. And so all these different parts fit together. And we as athletic directors, we get the excitement of merging it all together when they start out at a young life and helping them become great adults and making our communities better. So I get really excited about that stuff.
I can tell you're ready to go. What you mentioned earlier about, your parent meetings, it shows why you're a master athletic administrator. The NIAAA in a couple of weeks at the national conference is unveiling a brand new course. I was very fortunate to be a part of the authorship team, and it's called Partnering with Parents. And it talks about those very things that you were doing years and years ago of saying, this is how we roll as a program, and parents, this is your role within that. It's not, saying stay away, we don't want you. It's saying, hey, this is how you can help us and be a part of the program. So we're excited about that course. It's going to be Saturday night as part of the LTI program. But appreciate you sharing that. Hey, very cool stuff. Once again, our listeners, we're visiting with Mark Edgemon, Certified Master Athletic Administrator. We'll be back with some more, but let's take another break and hear from one of our podcast sponsors. We also want to take a moment and thank Athletic Surveys by Lifetrack, who sponsor the Athletic Director's Toolbox segment of our podcast. Athletic Surveys by Lifetrack are a quick, easy, and affordable way for you to collect some comprehensive data that allows you to evaluate and improve your entire athletic program. Athletic Surveys by Lifetrack also gives you access to the 95% of the players and the parents who really love your program. And it gives them a voice so they can help demonstrate the importance that a positive athletic experience has for them. Go to athleticsurveys.com and check out their testimonials, and then give them a call at 1-800-738-6466, or you can email them at info@athleticsurveys.com to get started. Athletic Surveys by Lifetrack. Let them help you take your athletic program from good to great. All right, we're back with Mark Edgemon. Mark, you and I were talking before we started recording, and again, you and I are both retired, so it's not like we're there, in the day-to-day routine with kids and parents and coaches anymore. But I know that you've really got a heart for ADs, and you were talking about some of the legal responsibilities, some of the legal challenges, things that can come up, particularly for young ADs who just don't know what they don't know. So share a little bit on that topic about some of the legal aspects of being an AD.
That is something that is, I think, extremely important for new athletic directors, because, if you start doing your certification, one of the first classes dealing with legal issues, you go through and it's like, wow, do I really want to be an athletic director? And so you realize that you have a lot to learn, and a lot of responsibility goes in as an athletic director. And so one of the highlights every year at our national conference is here on the legal issues talk with Lee Green. And he just presents it in such a great way that you understand the technical issues, but he makes it a lot of fun too. So at your national conference, make sure you do listen to what he has to say. And he teaches such good wisdom, because he shows you some of the extreme issues that coach or NADs are getting involved with. And again, we need to step up and make sure that we're responsible to protect these young people. They're under our guidance, and we need to make sure they're in a safe environment. And we need to have our ears open through our coaches, through other parents, through educators, to make sure that if you hear of something going on, that you're responsible legal to take action and communicate that. And there were many times we'd hear examples of things that had gone on, and you'd be like, wow, I never really thought of that, or in that degree. And exactly. Boy, we better make sure we step up and take care of this. So that's where I would recommend that you follow those type of guidelines that Lee Green has spoke about.
I'm so glad you shared that. Um, I just about a month ago, I did a presentation for a county school district, and there were 8 or 9 athletic directors from their county, and it was on the 14 legal duties. And in prepping for that, and I shared this with the ADs, even if you're doing everything right, I showed them 2 websites that exist. One is called How to Sue Your School District. The other website that's out there is Why You Should Sue Your School District. So again, even if you're doing everything right, there's going to be a knucklehead out there that's going to be looking for a quick buck. So you got to make sure you're doing everything right. So when you do have to visit that courtroom and sit on that witness stand, that you can say, this is our program, this is our documentation, this is what we did, this is how we roll. Very important stuff. Thanks, Mark. We're going to be right back, and we're going to find out what is going to go in Mark Edgemon's new athletic director toolbox. Our toolbox segment is sponsored by Athletic Surveys by Lifetrack. And, we're going to be back in just a minute and find out what's in Mark's toolbox. Please stay with us. Wall of Fame by Vital Signs is on a mission to bring your school's legacy to life. They provide a variety of interactive touchscreen options, along with an extensive library of templates to make it easier than ever to recognize the athletic achievements of your students, both past and present. For ideas on how to showcase your school's diverse history, along with your proudest moments, visit vitalsignswalloffame.com. Or to learn more and get started with your own digital Wall of Fame tribute, give them a call at 614-981-3589, or you can email them at sales@vitalsignswalloffame.com. That's sales@vitalsignswalloffame.com. We're back. Mark, this has been really cool catching up with you. Like I said, we used to get to see each other every year, and we have shared a few nuggets over the last couple of months. But right now, I'm going to put you on the spot. You're certainly an experienced administrator and an award-winning administrator. But right now, I'm going to task you with sending out a brand new athletic director on their very first job. But I'm only going to let you put 3 things in their toolbox. What 3 items are going to go in Mark Edgemon's athletic director toolbox?
You know what? The first one is find a friend that's an athletic director, or find an athletic director to make a friend, and have that person, the person you can talk and communicate with. Might be somebody in your league, might be somebody across the nation that you get to know through our conferences. Find somebody that you can ask questions to, because that's the person that can talk the same language, and you both can be able to help each other as you go through. But finding an experienced AD is somebody that is a huge benefit to any athletic director, but especially a brand new one. Second is a thing that we talked about with the legal part is get certified. If you're ever called into court, they're going to ask you, why are you qualified to be an athletic director? And when you can say that you're certified by the NIAAA, by the RAA level, CAA, or even the CMAA level, which isn't that difficult, you got to get that one done too, is that you will be able to speak from an authoritative standpoint and have people understand that you're doing the best practices and keeping the child forefront in every decision that you make from that point. Another one that kind of goes hand in hand with that, so I'll say it's 2B, is that it's getting a master's program. I didn't really know there was one even existing. And then years ago, I started hearing about them. And at the conference, there's people, universities that sponsor it, and go ahead and get that. So certification and get a master's in coaching and athletic administration. And the third one is volunteer. Volunteer at your local level, your state level, and your national level, because you're going to meet other excellent ADs that aren't just sitting back on either I know it all and I'm going to do it this way because I've done it this way forever, but you're going to meet people that are willing to make change and change for the better and adjust, because our kids now aren't the same as they were back in the 60s and the 70s and even 80s and 90s. So we need to make sure that we adjust for them and provide them an excellent program. So those are my 3 recommendations for a new AD.
Those are 3 great ones. Even we'll let you get that 4th one in there. And no surprise, somebody who spent a lot of time in certification, is pushing involvement with our national organization and the certification process. Mark, I know you're retired, but you are a wealth of wisdom. If one of our listeners wanted to reach out and pick your brain a little bit, what's the best way that they can get in touch with you?
Best is by email, blue, BLUE 23231 @gmail.com.
Okay. If you need that email address, just play it back, play our recording back. Mark's also on LinkedIn, so you can check him out there as well. Mark Edgemon, Certified Master Athletic Administrator and a personal friend of mine. Thanks so much for being on the podcast today.
Thank you. You're the best.
Oh, you're too kind. For our listeners, remember the Zoom recordings of these interviews are being uploaded to the Educational AD Podcast YouTube channel. We appreciate you listening. Come back again next time for another episode of the Educational AD Podcast. Again, we want to thank Hometown Ticketing, the leading digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges. Learn more at hometownticketing.com. Thanks for listening to the Educational AD Podcast.